Hasan Piker versus Cenk, two people I do not like. Let's dive into it.
Makes them lazier.
You know we don't.
We absolutely do. We absolutely do. 1,000,000%. On that note, Chunk Uygur, aka Shaky Gurga. Hold on. Are you all right? You sound sick.
No.
Hold on. I'll grab you a chair right now. Here, the mic is on. You can speak into it, but
Hey, what's up, guys? What's up? Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. My mom made some good turkey. Yeah, right there, brothers and sisters. Right there.
Here you go.
All right.
People are spamming.
They should. I like it.
Shaky Gurg is in the building, everybody. Hold on. All right, this is good. This is a better angle, I think. And you can even hold on. Let me fix this. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Boom.
Yeah, better. Less stomach better.
Okay, there it is. Can you guys hear him? As you guys know, it's a time-honored tradition every single year since 2018 to have Cenk Uygur in the building. Okay, let's start off with why you said that you were going to your communist nephew's house. I can't tell if you were memeing or if you're being serious. Have I been upgraded to communist?
Okay, actually, you tell me. I'm kidding, but so people are constantly calling you all sorts of names. You go to China, you love it over there. So what should we call you? What are you?
I mean, I say I'm a socialist. I'm not like a self-described communist or anything, but I also say that I don't have an issue with people calling me a communist. I just think it's funny when people say that.
Okay, all right. Then I got it right. Okay, I was playing around. Yeah, you're a socialist. God bless.
Yeah, but
Saying that you're okay with being called a communist is not a good thing. The fuck? That's similar to Nick Fuentes saying he's okay with being called a Nazi, you dumbass. Like, the fuck?
yeah, no, a lot of people have been saying that I'm a authoritarian communist. That's what they're saying. Well, not everybody. Some people say I'm a revisionist and therefore a social fascist. But those guys are the real commies. You know what I mean? Those are that's the real Max Left.
Okay, yeah. Luckily, I don't even know those folks.
You probably they're in your replies, I suspect. Actually, they might have given up on you at this point.
Oh yeah.
They yell at me all the time, though. Not that it matters. All right. I will keep calling you a centrist, lol. Yeah, people say I'm a centrist.
Well, the political spectrum has moved. If you are a centrist,
so
although kind of, I mean, look, you backed Mamdani 200%. Mamdani is now bros with Trump. I mean, if that's not
centrism, is the horseshoe. Yeah, by transitive property, I'm homies with Trump. But obviously, we already knew that, and technically you too, because we were far too critical of Kamala Harris. And if you're critical of Kamala Harris, who was the best possible candidate at the time, that means you wanted Donald Trump to win.
Yeah, I actually
stop playing victim. You sound like a baby. Jesus Christ. I mean, I do make trolly jokes saying that Hasan is secretly a MAGA agent, and I think it's funny. But I mean, you deserve criticism because you didn't just criticize Kamala Harris. You didn't help her win at all, considering how much of a threat you thought Donald Trump was. Unless you didn't think Donald Trump was a threat, and you think what he's doing is just as bad as what Kamala's doing, then you're just fucking stupid. Simple as that.
I actually think that we have thoroughly defeated those guys. So there's a lot of folks out there that are still in the, in the circle for who might come out ahead, right, in terms of ideology. But the guys who are not going to win, I don't think, are the ones who are like, oh, Kamala was right all along. Like, that's kind of done.
Nobody says that.
The way that makes a comeback is through the form of Buttigieg or Newsom, right? So those guys aren't done. But like the Kamala stands, the beehive is dead, right? There's not a single
K-hive. Yeah,
K-hive. Right.
Yeah,
There's not a K left in the hive.
Yeah, beehive is very much alive. There's a bayhive.
Yeah, that's the biggest one.
What was Kamala wrong about necessarily? She was right about everything Trump is going to do, and he's doing it. What was she wrong about? What is your big issue with Kamala Harris, bro? Oh, because she doesn't hate Israel? Is that it? Is Cenk's opinions and political ideology purely based on whether or not you hate Israel?
But her and Taylor Swift are immortal. But in politics, Kamala's done.
All right, so we've had many battles on this broadcast about our disagreements, but I think it's important to start the conversation with our agreements. You've been manning the ship on Piers Morgan every single time you appear, defending Palestinians and Palestinian humanity. Has your attitude shifted on this issue over the last 2 years?
Maybe a little bit, actually. That's interesting. So I've always been obviously against all of Israel's war crimes, its occupation, etc. And so October 7th, the day itself, was of course bad, and then the reaction has been horrific, and it's an obvious genocide. And we said that from day one. We took a lot of for saying it's a genocide early. We took a lot of for saying they were doing it to steal land. Trope, blah blah blah, right? And they stole the land. It was always for ethnic cleansing. So we've been on the right side of that through and through. The only thing that I'd say is that I didn't, I grew up in East Brunswick, which is a kind of a
communist safe haven.
It's the original Israel. It's a safe haven for Jews. So it was about 40-50% Jewish, right? So I grew up with a culture that believed that Israel was righteous and holy, right? And so I think that through this 2-year process, I've now come to the point where, like, no, it's no question at all that it shouldn't have been formed. And and so that's a kind of I wasn't there before.
Oh no, I know.
Yeah, and
so Cenk is just a Nazi now. Like, Jesus Christ, your Israel hate has gone this far. Oh my God, this guy's such a bot. What? Oh man, I'm gonna hate myself. I don't know how much I could watch this. Hello. I don't know how much I could watch this without going insane.
And of course, it's a huge injustice, and I've always known it was a huge injustice. In fact, this is the one thing I used to catch for, because I was against the occupation back in high school, and we went to Model Congress, and I was the only one who got a bill passed, and it was to defund Israel. That was back in 1988. Okay, so
difference in opinion on certain issues, but ultimately this is something that we completely unite on and completely agree on. And I think that is actually a point of agreement for many people, even like evangelical Christians and whatnot, that are probably having the exact same conversation. So remember that for the Thanksgiving enjoyers, when you're with your family, if you want to unite on certain things.
To the left of me, so it makes sense that like he's kind of perfect for you, right? I think you tell me, but I love it. I love it because it's change. I love it because middle finger to AIPAC that spent $45 million trying to meddle in our elections, and fuck them. Okay, right? So this division on trying to divide Americans with Jew, Muslim, Christian, etc. No, we're America. They're not America, and that's that. And then he's for change, man. The status quo. So I'm some of the rent freeze on the rent control apartments. First of all, I don't think he's saying that'll solve the whole thing. It won't.
No,
it only affects a tiny amount.
You know what? I'm just gonna skip until they start talking about Nick Fuentes. I can't be bothered to listen to Cenk's bullshit or Hasan's.
Why we keep consistently going back and forth on Band-Aid solutions, which you're right. Rent control is where they do talk. So basically, I think that Google worked extra hard to make it illegal in other places. Like, they do not want internet service providers or water or electricity or sewage systems to be controlled by the municipality. But yes, fire department is another great example of this as well.
And that goes to the last point, which is we don't know what should be public and private perfectly until we try a couple of different systems.
Wow.
Like, theoretically, you know it a little bit better. If you study other countries, you'll have better examples, etc. But like the fire department, now right? There is no non-mixed economies. The military is public, police are public, fire is public. And so when you go down the list, healthcare is perfect for public healthcare
benefits cliff. So that actually,
I think that that's a possibility.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
And so, but the minute you get into the middle class and beyond, you got to have a normal sense. Like at the higher levels, you're going to let
Americans that this concept is good and it actually invokes freedom.
First of all, you can say any city planning is social engineering. Yeah. Part of my solution for housing is we have this
third of their income on rent. That's people scrounging to make ends meet. Housing is considered a fundamental right.
Localize it if you want.
Anywhere near
I'm showing
reality today.
No. But what we're showing you is they've been pummeled by the
not for it, right?
Uh-huh.
So like when you take it to other issues, it gets complicated, right? So if you said to an average right winger today, "Are you for the free markets?" I think over 90% would say yes. Now, do they really mean that? Well, it depends.
From a symbol of urban blight into a
see how many years ago, right?
Yeah.
And so do I think huge change is possible?
Fuentes
Definitely. That's why I started Rebellion Pack. That's why I started Young Turks. I think enormous changes.
Action to make it seem as though the uniparty consensus is actually not there on the issues that matter the most to every single person, healthcare, housing, and the like, and foreign policy. But to make them come to your side because you are offering them something, right? Offering them free healthcare, offering them housing. And that's how you bring them to your side. I don't have a disagreement there. I'm not saying like we just cut out, whoever has voted for Donald Trump and shoot ourselves in the foot regardless.
Yeah.
My point is always that we bring them to our side.
Policies, right? So you're anti-war, that's traditionally left-wing, right? You're anti
find themselves in agreement with these policies. And the problem for them is that they have a higher priority for either the nationalist sentiment, and that's actually the goal that they're advancing or the goal that they're working towards, which is, I think, in Tucker Carlson's case, that's the point. Or they're just lying.
This might be interesting.
And should they come to us or should we go to them? It's kind of a false.
Make them come to your side because you are offering them something, right? Offering them free healthcare, offering them housing. Okay. Step 2, question mark. Step 3, decommodified housing. I'm joking. Ezra Klein, if you see this is a joke. Okay.
Okay. So
I think you are fine.
Okay. But now, like, the way more controversial thing is these days, I think we should unite with the right to defeat the establishment. So because we can't defeat them on our own. And if we unite, we can actually win on Israel. We just kind of won on Epstein files. And we could even win on paid family leave. We might even be able to win on healthcare, because to your point and to my point, West Virginia and Kentucky, they want healthcare, right? They don't want money in politics. They actually agree with us on almost everything. They're anti-war, anti-corruption.
I don't disagree with you. I think the major disagreement that you and I have to a certain degree is, and I say this all the time, that you need people. If you want to unite the people, you're going to have people you disagree with in your movement, no matter what happens. The point is, you don't actually go to their side on, social issues or whatever, these things that are wedge issues that are used as a distraction to make it seem as though the uniparty consensus is actually not there on the issues that matter the most to every single person, healthcare, housing, and the like, and foreign policy. But to make them come to your side because you are offering them something, right? Offering them free healthcare, offering them housing. And that's how you bring them to your side. I don't have a disagreement there. I'm not saying like we just cut out, whoever has voted for Donald Trump and shoot ourselves in the foot regardless.
Yeah.
My point is always that we bring them to our side without having to concede on these other things. Like we don't concede on being unnecessarily cruel to undocumented migrants or being unnecessarily cruel to trans people and constantly talking about trans people this, trans people that. We just call it as it is. This is just a distraction. And I think the Trump administration's failures on affordability after.
I know this. I didn't think this was going to come out of my mouth. Actually, I agree with Hasan. But I do think you don't give up your position, but there can be middle grounds of different positions. But generally, I do think we need to bring these people out of the mud.
Winning the election against an administration that came across as old and unable to solve the 1.5 years of negative real wage growth that people experienced under the Biden administration and the inflation crisis that people were experiencing. And then hyper-focusing, which is what the Trump administration did, hyper-focusing on trans issues and things like that, actually present a unique opportunity to show people like, oh, guess what? Turns out it wasn't trans people that was making your rent more expensive. Turns out it wasn't a Guatemalan migrant that was the reason for why your healthcare is expensive. And that's what I try to do all the time.
So look, maybe it's an issue of timing, but first off, on should they come to us or
I don't know if he does that all the time. I mean, I think he tries to destroy the Democratic Party, but I agree generally with this point.
Should we go to them? It's kind of a false framing because since we agree on 70% of issues, neither side actually has to go anywhere. But if you're talking about traditional left-wing policies, that's literally what I've been doing the last 2 years. I've been saying yes to the right wing who are coming to our traditional policies, right? So you're anti-war, that's traditionally left wing, right? You're anti-corruption, that's traditionally left wing. You're for paid family leave because you want more babies and you want, et cetera, right? We want to treat American moms better. Great, that's traditionally left wing. You want lower drug prices, higher wages, all traditionally left wing. And I'm super happy to take their alliance in it, right? And what I'm saying is, okay, we just leave out the social issues in terms of our debate when we're working together, right? So we want to work together on banning private equity from buying up our residential real estate, or we want to work on anti-corruption. Okay, we'll argue about the social issues later, and there's nothing wrong with arguing about it, and neither side has to concede at all. So they could be like, okay, I'm massively anti-trans, and we could be massively pro-trans, or fill in the blank, Muslim, whatever the category is, right? But if we let that stop us in the beginning, we're never going to topple the establishment. And the establishment is a bigger enemy to both us and them than we are to each other.
So here's
what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. But here's the problem. Josh Hawley is a great example of this, right? Like I think or Tucker Carlson is a great example of this. I think there are a lot of people who understand that left populism, real populist economic policies, are actually extremely popular amongst the base, right? Across the board, regardless of whatever ideology they slot themselves into, most people find themselves in agreement with these policies. And the problem for them is that they have a higher priority for either the nationalist sentiment, and that's actually the goal that they're...
I think I'm going to agree with what Hasan's about to say. I will say it depends on the economic populist policy we're talking about. All across the board, across America, I don't think universal healthcare is like super popular, but cheaper healthcare is. So we have to meet like in the middle of what we're talking about. So it depends on which policies. I think people just want like very obvious things: cheaper, more wages, cheaper utilities, cheaper rent, cheaper healthcare. But there are some sentiments that are populist that's like universal government take care of everything, and that just can't work. So it depends on what we're talking about. I guarantee there's a semantic disagreement between me and Hasan there, but his point about what do they care about most, this nationalism, I agree with Hasan.
Advancing of the goal that they're working towards, which is, I think, in Tucker Carlson's case, that's the point, or they're just lying, but they recognize the popularity of these left populist policies, and they're trying to maintain a base of support. But when push comes to shove, just like with Josh Hawley, they will still be servants of capital. And that's the issue that I have with a lot of the right.
I think it's better to say servants of Donald Trump. You know, I'm not attacking capitalism, but I am attacking the billionaires. I think Hasan actually had a good take. Crazy. I agree with Hasan. I think Hasan is more right than Cenk Uygur in this situation. There's an idea that Cenk has this like undying or like unwavering belief in the right that they will join him is delusional. They're subservient to the national pride that is MAGA.
And I think that's the issue that a lot of people have with the self-described right-wingers. Maybe not the right-wing voters in general, because those people can be convinced and moved, but most people in positions of power within the right-wing machine are either lying about being in favor of populism, or they care infinitely more about like implementing some kind of insane nationalistic policies.
All right, so let's say 5 different Republicans or right-wingers and give, and I think that'll help clarify the conversation. First of all, I agree with you, and that's the main point I make, is to make a differentiation between the leaders and the voters, okay? So attack the leaders, politicians, media, no problem, right? That's the game we're in. Don't attack the voters. They actually agree with us on 70% of stuff. Take yes for an answer.
Don't attack the voters. They agree 70%. That's both of those things. One, I disagree with. 2, that's not true. I don't know what voters you're talking to, Cenk. The only thing that you agree with, like the far right with, like the Nick Fuentes groypers, is that you hate Israelis and you basically hate Jewish people. So it's like, other than that, they do not agree 90% with what you're saying. That's just not true. That's not embedded in reality.
Okay, so now when you get to the 5 guys, so we all agree on a bunch of them. Mitch McConnell, corporate Democrat, uniparty, corporate Republican, but really what's the difference? So like we hate him, the right wing hates, the right wing base hates him.
Not
so we're past that, and that used to be our number 1 impediment. Then you get to Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon pretends to be the biggest populist on the right wing, like the godfather of populism in a lot of ways on the right wing. But I'm worried that he's utterly full of shit, right? So here he is behind the scenes.
I know for a fact he's utterly full of shit. I don't know why you're worried about something that exists.
Doing a fake wall, constantly scheming for power. And
yeah, I don't know if you all just said that. You saw that. Someone said kill the voters in Hasan's chat. Like, what the fuck? Hasan's chat is insane, people.
More power, but like, wait a minute, I thought you were against the elites. And at every turn, it seems like behind the scenes, you're actually helping the elites, and you're using populism as a way to get popular to do your actual agenda. So I'm super worried about Steve Bannon, right? Now you move to Josh Hawley. Yep. Josh Hawley's got his foot in in Mitch McConnell's camp, and he's got his foot in populism. He did actually stop taking corporate PAC money, so he's not 100% full of shit like the other guys, like Ted Cruz, etc. Right? So he's only 50% full of shit now. So that's an improvement, but at the end of the day, he's too attached to the old system. So he's going to side with the McConnells of the world, is my guess. So not that useful, right? So now we're left with 2 guys that are left: Tucker Carlson, and yeah, I'm going to say the word or the name, Nick Fuentes. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's I have stopped censoring that Nick Fuentes mentioned since he's getting profiled by the New York Times. You know.
Yeah. So Tucker Carlson, I think, has a shot at actually meaning it. And so I'm not sure that I agree with you.
You and I have had a private conversation about this many years ago, and I think I've been vindicated on this. I think
I've been.
Oh, What the fuck? Cenk is capitulating to Tucker Carlson. Well, Anna literally said, "Oh, you should run for president." What the? Okay, they are so gone, man. They're okay. Here we go.
And to get on it, but we can have that conversation in a minute.
I can't believe Hasan might be more reasonable than Cenk Uygur nowadays. Like Cenk somehow got crazier than Hasan. I'm surprised.
So to now you go to we'll come back to Tucker. You go to Fuentes, and so he seemed to be a classic guy who's, to be fair to him, not hiding his nationalism, right? So he was like, I'm going nationalist, I'm going Christian nationalist, white nationalist. It appeared to me, right? That was my original read of him. But now he's also changing. And so now I know we all cancel him to bejesus. And
I mean,
okay, Barry Weiss, if you're watching, which you obviously are,
Holocaust
right?
denier.
Right. So no problem. You deny the Holocaust, you say all these things. He's against race mixing. Well,
Yeah.
I'm married to an Asian woman. What am I going to agree with?
No problem. What the fuck are we doing? You hate Jewish people this much? You're fucking capping for Nick Fuentes? What the fuck is wrong with Cenk?
With that, right? So obviously we're against all that. But even now he has realized that's not actually where his audience is. So whether it's Craven,
I think he's a grifter. I think these guys are all grifters.
right? Whether it's Craven
I
or
agree
not,
with
whether they're
Hasan.
grifters or not, even Fuentes is now saying, he said it just like 2 days ago, you know what? Maybe we put aside the racism and the cruelty and the abuse, right? Which is an amazing admission, by the way, that kind of is the direction.
What the fuck are you talking about? He was recently, now this was before the Piers Morgan interview, but I don't know how you're making this claim in general, where he was very clearly saying that he was racist. He said he was racist against black people. He said he hates women. Like, what the fuck? Women shouldn't vote. Piers, your Jewish hate has made you fucking retarded. What are you talking about?
They were going, right? And he says, maybe we put that aside
I just don't
to be able to unite with the left.
I don't
so
believe
I'm not
anything
saying
he
yes to Fuentes. I'm just saying, look at the tide moving. The tide is moving towards populism because it's being driven by the audience.
caping
The
for
audience wants
Fuentes.
real
Hasan is actually
populism.
being
So when they says
reasonable.
bullshit, they don't want it, and they're pushing in a better direction. So why is
What are
Tucker?
we
Now let's go to the heart of
doing?
it. Tucker, right? Why is Tucker to me today different than he was on Fox News? Because on Fox News he worked for corporate media, and he says it now himself. He says, "Yeah, I mean there were certain things we were allowed to say, not allowed to say. I regret a lot of the things that I said on there." So now he's more tethered to the audience than he is to Rupert Murdoch, and so he tries to serve his audience better. And now he says wrong about Iraq, right? Wrong about war overall, wrong about a bunch of things, right? And by the way, have a lot of us on the left said as much as he has about all the things we're wrong about, right?
No, I don't say that at all.
What the fuck are we doing? Oh my god. Tucker, oh my god, we were capping for Tucker Carlson now. Oh my god, Cenk is gone. He's useless. He's useless.
See, so what my point is, not that he's right and we're wrong or anything along those lines, but he's at least making movements to go towards agreement.
You're saying that there's a broader trend line that's moving in the direction of left politics, and that is the reason why the likes of Tucker Carlson are retriangulating their messaging. That is somewhat understandable, but I do think that ultimately, I don't necessarily care for Tucker Carlson personally or Nick Fuentes, but I do care about changing the mindset of their audiences, because I find socially regressive politics to be and reactionary politics to be a distraction, and that anyone that does that to any degree is inherently reactionary and deliberately doing this because they want to move people's attention and focus away from the material inequities that they're facing and away from a steadfast approach to dealing with those problems. That is the reason why it's very easy for me to say all right-wingers in general are grifters, and even that moderation that they're engaging with is them simply reading the room and recognizing that they have to offer some kind of what you call populism, some kind of left-wing material solutions.
So let me say two things.
Some of which do it because they want to maintain their popularity. Some of which do it because they have a higher degree of priority for like fomenting nationalistic sentiment, and they think this is the most effective way of doing it. I mean, Adolf Hitler was in charge of the National Socialist Party, right? Because at the time, socialism was a very popular movement. At a time when liberalism was failing, just as it is now, fascist movements were presenting themselves as revolutionary movements or an alternative to socialism that wasn't as scary. In Mussolini's Italy, it was bringing about a synthesis, as he would call it, of socialist sentiment, but also protecting the petite bourgeoisie.
Okay, so look, me, you, and maybe
Hasan is
whoever it is that
actually-
we want to assign it.
There's probably slight disagreements on how he characterized certain things, but he's correct. He's so much more correct than Cenk Uygur in terms of his analysis of what is going on regarding the right. And this is kind of ridiculous that Cenk is so fucking stupid and brainwashed, and his hate for Israel. He's only grifting to Fuentes and Tucker Carlson because they're anti-Israel. There's nothing else behind this whole sentiment on trying to downplay their racism or their ultra-Christian nationalism. Like, this is ridiculous. What are we talking about, Cenk?
As the avatar for nationalism. Well, you think it's Tucker, maybe it's Fuentes, maybe it's Megyn Kelly. I don't care, right? My point is, we might all have different agendas for what happens once we get out of the woods, right? Once we break out of the prison, to use a couple of different analogies. But we got to break out of the prison first. And once we break out of the prison, you want to go towards more socialism. Somebody wants to go towards more nationalism. I want to go to.
What the fuck are you talking about? Our system is so bad that you are willing to pair up people who want to be ultra Christian nationalist Nazis? Are you fucking serious? You're delusional. You're absolutely delusional, Cenk. And I'm gonna be dead fucking honest. The morals behind Cenk is fucking plummeting like a rock. I really think it starts and ends with support for Israel. I think this guy is so one-dimensional that it starts and ends with whether or not you support Jewish people in Israel. And he's willing to break out of our system by working with Fuentes, Tucker, and Megyn Kelly, who all admitted that they were basically ultra-Christian nationalists. Fuentes goes way further. Megyn Kelly hates all immigrants. Tucker Carlson is a Russian agent. But they're the people you're going to work with to break out the system? I mean, I have issues with the system too, but this is fucking insanity. This is ridiculous.
Towards democracy, free markets, etc. Right? So, okay, but first we got to break out of the prison. So if you say to me, hey, let's say take Tucker, he has a hidden agenda and it's nationalism.
And it's not even hidden.
Yeah. Okay, whatever. And he'll say to you, and you.
So, hey, man, let's break out of this. It's an unfortunate little town. It's not optimized. There's poor people here. And let's go to this fascist, satanic town just so we can break out of the system. Let's go to a worse town. Let's go to a worse system just so we can break out of this current system. Let's go to the worst one. What are we doing? He's basically promoting anarchy.
No, to be fair to you, you don't hide that your North Star is more socialism, right?
Yeah, because there's a difference between those two concepts.
Yeah, I get it.
One is good. The other is an incredibly deadly, self-defeating ideology.
Yeah, I don't love socialism. And again, it depends on what we mean. If we mean Northern Europe, then I kind of do love socialism. If we mean
Northern
Venezuela, then no, I don't love socialism.
Yeah,
and I get it. I don't want to get into that.
Socialism is an economic organization of, or socialism is a different organization of the economy. Venezuela and Norway actually have not even comparable degrees of socialization or nationalization. Norway actually has a higher degree of nationalization. Its entire extraction industry is nationalized, as opposed to Venezuela that has a lower degree of socialization.
Yeah, naturalizing your oil reserves, by the way, is a super.
A lot of these are mixed economies, but none of these countries in Europe consider themselves socialist. None of them at all.
Interesting idea. So that's what I'm saying.
No, but that's like the difference there is, of course, the way that the capitalist hegemonic superpowers have treated these countries. Norway is very close in proximity, or was very close in proximity to the USSR. So the threat of a good example from the USSR was what allowed a lot of these Western European countries to continue a degree of socialization, because they were conceding. Just like you're saying, Tucker Carlson is conceding to us on a lot of these issues. The capital owners there were conceding out of fear that if they don't concede at all, then they are going to become communist. That the European countries are going to snap into revolutionary communist movements.
So I got you. But what I'm saying, Haas, is so socialism, we can have a great, wonderful debate.
Hello from the Netherlands. Yeah, I mean, from my understanding, nobody there wants to call him socialist. I don't know why he's even trying to make that claim.
About how mixed our economy should be. And whereas nationalism goes towards authoritarianism, and I'm never going to agree to authoritarianism. So I get it. I get that they're not the same, and I get that even though I might not agree with either, I'd rather lean to one side than the other for sure, because I don't want anything to do with authoritarianism.
What do you mean by that? Authoritarianism, like socialism leading to authoritarianism?
No, nationalism.
Or nationalism leading to authoritarianism?
Yeah, nationalism almost always leads to authoritarianism.
Well, it's because you have to eradicate, like nationalism or fascism has an in-group, out-group dynamic. And there are inalienable characteristics that must be excised forcibly from society. So, of course, that is the reason why it has to be violent.
That's why I'm never going to agree with nationalism. That's why I'm saying that's why I'm on the left.
Yeah.
So I'm closer to you than I am to a nationalist by a lot, right? Because nationalism is, you're right, is either white or Christian, or by the way, it could be in a different country, Muslim or Jewish or black, whatever. But it's nationalism is exclusionary by definition.
Non-white nationalist movements have usually been in the global South, or at least historically, have been liberation movements in general, like Pan-Arabic nationalism.
There's no reason why you should be defending this, Hasan. Come on. But the issue is, Cenk. I think the question to ask Cenk in this context is asking him, do you think our current regime, our capitalist regime that supports Israel, is worse than a regime led by Tucker, Megyn Kelly, or Nick Fuentes? Ask him that question. And if he says yes, I think Cenk should be removed from all political conversations. I'll be honest, this guy is just lost.
Pan-African nationalism, these are not the same as like the nationalism that you see in nationalism is understandably something that people hate and despise because it's in Western Europe or in America, it's the in-group that wants more domination and not the dominated population's emancipatory movement. Like I don't think you would disagree with like the FLN or something like Algeria. The decolonial initiatives in Algeria would be considered nationalistic
until they take over, right? So like if they went,
but
so whoever's in power, it's
past that point you have a nation state, right? Exactly.
Yeah, whoever's in power, if they're the majority and they do exclusionary nationalism, then obviously I'm going to be against it because I'm inclusive, not exclusive.
Yeah.
So
all right, I'm going to pee real quick. We'll finish this video while I go pee, and then you can talk to the chat.
Okay.
Establish community land trusts to gradually buy up housing on the
is class politics.
Yeah, that's okay.
More and more people are self-identifying as socialists than ever before. Yes, we're going to wrap up in a second. More and more people are self-identifying as socialists in comparison to years prior, and I think that is what is good, because populism is too. Populism can go in either direction. It just means that you're like anti-neoliberal, you're anti-establishment. That's fine. I'm anti-neoliberal, I'm anti-establishment. But I think I call right-wing populists slopulous for that reason, where it's just like fake populism.
No, but don't do that.
I understand. Cenk is becoming a tool for the right-wing insanity. The fact that he tried to cape for Fuentes and Tucker and is insane to me.
So number one, their voters aren't fake. They actually do want the same things we want.
I'm not talking about the voters.
They appear to be going to the left, but they're actually in the same place they always were, right? They always wanted those things. It's just the establishment lied to them. Corporate media.
What is this thing about their voters want the same thing? Do you know their voters? Have you had their voters in your comment section? These voters are just as bad. This is not a situation where it's like, oh, I'm misinformed. They're informed. They're bad. I don't know why we're keeping for people who don't care, don't want you in their country. You're not white. You're not Christian. You are a man.
He lied to them and told them, oh, no, you don't want, lower drug prices. You don't want higher wages. And they did all that propaganda. Look, last thing on the nationalism.
But a lot of them came for it because
it's
aligned with Donald Trump's positions. They don't really care about these issues. They care about Donald Trump having power. There's a lot of uninformed, like people who just want change for sure. But we can't just we can't make a unilateral proposition that the people on the right voting MAGA are reasonable people. We can't just do that. And we definitely can't apply that to groypers who follow Nick Fuentes. Like, come on, bro.
Faster.
Yeah.
Because it means by definition, you're not one of us, so you get less rights, you get less everything. And so I'm not going to be in favor of that. But
Zionism is not an emancipatory movement. That's why it's not emancipatory nationalism. Not that the distinction is important for history, but we're not even talking about that right now anyway.
Yeah. So, but my point, guys, to everyone, including you, Haas, and Tucker, and everybody is, let's get to our disagreements after we win. So after we win,
big. Why the fuck are we putting the term "we" with Tucker and Fuentes? Why are you saying we? What do you mean we? Who are you fighting against with Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson? Who's the enemy? Who's the enemy? Please tell me. Please tell me who the enemy of Fuentes and Carlson is. I am dying to hear this. I am dying to hear this.
and you go towards socialism, whoever wants to go towards nationalism, go that way. We'll split up and we'll have beautiful arguments and debates and all of that stuff.
What the fuck is Cenk on, bro? What is he? What do you mean you break apart? Yo, I'm going insane. This is how you build a Nazi regime. From idiots like fucking Cenk Uygur that help you acquire power, and then he's like, oh, let's break off and have civil debates about nationalism and socialism, and then he just fucking kills you and obtains power. This is the fucking dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh my god, bro. Cenk Uygur. I think he's officially worse than Hasan Piker. He's a bigger dumbass than Hasan Piker. Oh my goodness. You know, Hasan, you were actually doing pretty well. You know, of course, we're going to disagree with the capitalism, but the contrast with Cenk Uygur shown you in a different light, Hasan Piker. A light that I'm going to respect because Cenk Uyghur's a fucking idiot. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I don't know what the Red Brown Alliance means, but Jesus Christ. Cenk is making me go insane. Oh, someone in Hasan's chat, and Hasan's chat is a bunch of insane people. Someone in his chat says, who is this we you're talking about? What do you mean we?
But let's take down the prison guards first. The establishment are the prison guards. They're the maintainers of the corporate system. So let's knock that down first. Let's unleash populism on both sides. And then let's go have elections.
Yo, Cenk is about to create the next Hitler. I'm so convinced. I'm so convinced. He's about to create the next Hitler, bro. Because his positions are fucking so stupid.
And let's figure out what's more popular. Let's have democracy.
I just don't. I think that historically speaking, given.
Let's find out what's more popular: socialism or nationalism. Okay, bro. Okay, Hasan, talk, please. Talk.
In that, socialism is an abolition and reconstruction of the capitalist hierarchy, whereas fascism is actually a mechanism of control to reassert the capitalist hierarchy. This exact dynamic that you're talking about has played out in the past with fascists winning. When liberalism is failing and contradictions worsen, and people recognize that they're desperate for new alternatives. Most people, or not most people, but capital owners who still have their remaining crumb of power will then align themselves with fascists.
So I think that there are two paths to fascism that I want to avoid. And the way to...
Historically, the left wing teamed up with the Nazis. When Nazis got in power, the left wing got purged. That's Red, Brown, and why it doesn't work. Oh, that's what you meant. Oh, yeah, I agree to that then. Yeah, it's just fucking insane that Cenk is even proposing this kind of philosophy. There's no way he realistically thinks this is going to work. And Hasan is completely correct. Because if he's going up against the establishment, one, they're going to want to retain power. And one of the best ways to retain power is aligning yourself with someone who wants to consolidate that power and help you retain your power if you support them. Fascism allows that more so than any governmental style. So what are like Cenk? Yeah, bro. I don't. Cenk is so fucking stupid, bro.
Avoid it is to fix the system. So number one path is people get so mad at the injustices of this current corrupt system.
There's definitely a do-rag that could fit this forehead. All right, this do-rag might not be it, but I could probably get a whole bed sheet and fit this forehead and make a do-rag. Okay,
That they go in the Fuentes direction and beyond Fuentes, right? To whatever is beyond Fuentes. And so at that point, if that becomes popular enough because of suppression, and that's what's happening now, the Barry Weiss of the world are suppress, suppress, suppress. Don't let them breathe. Don't let them breathe, right? And so they're helping.
I really think Cenk only likes Fuentes because he hates Jews. I really just think that is it. That is it. It's just the hatred to Jews.
Fuentes and beyond Fuentes more than they realize. So that's one path to fascism. The other path is the path we're on now. This is the establishment is the path to fascism. Because what's going to happen next is Palantir. Palantir tested all their technology in Gaza. Now Larry Ellison and the guys at Palantir are saying we now know how to control the population. So they're going to bring that here. If populists on the right or left don't win, or some sort of combination don't win in 2028,
I just
then
don't
the
think
Ellisons and the Peter Thiels and those.
Jenks loves Jews. Are you stupid? Are you dead ass? He literally said that the country of Israel should not exist. He loves Jews.
Those guys, the Palantirs are going to turn this current establishment into a fascist establishment.
I think
You
that,
see what I'm saying?
I think, well, one, I do see what you're saying. I think that we're already there in many ways. I think that the new iteration, like the Republicans have already become a post-liberal party, and Donald Trump is doing that right now with the type of populism that you're talking about, with the sloppyism, if you will, where
liberalism
has been an abject failure, and that's the reason why one of the two major parties is basically evolving beyond, and the other one is always in a consistent conciliatory or conceding tone towards the other party that is restructuring itself as a fascist one. And my point is that the normal evolution beyond that point would be Tucker Carlson. I don't think JD Vance is going to lead the Republican Party in the future.
I think Tucker Carlson.
I think it's going to be the Tucker Carlson that leads the party.
But I don't think.
But do you think Tucker Carlson is going to go in there and actually take out Palantir and corporate capital? I don't. I do not.
All right, Cenk is just fucking stupid. I'm done. Hasan, you cooked the fuck out of your uncle. Your uncle is brain dead. Jesus Christ. Oh my God, that was embarrassing. Embarrassing. Let's watch this one. Team Hasan. Go, Hasan. Your uncle's insane.